What is gonna change it when you compare your 20s? You learned more, you experienced it more, maybe you didn't know before.
When I was younger, I was very concerned about my future, and most of the time we are not enjoying the moment.
In our 20s, you begin to realize that you really need to work hard to have a good job.
Well, first of all, sometimes in your 20s, you're past puberty.
Sure.
That makes a big difference.
That took me actually 170 interviews to realize these life-fulfilling conceptions. One of the most funniest and serious moments from Americans, Portuguese and German. And I'm gonna share this in less than 10 minutes. I hope this one will not disappoint you.
My name is Kevin, and I'm from America.
Hi, my name is Maureen, and I'm also from America.
How old are you?
I'm 67.
I'm 65.
What does it feel like to be 67 and 65?
Well, we feel very young. We have lots of energy. We love to be around young people. But we also feel like because we've lived for so long that we have a lot of experience and some wisdom.
And we feel that each decade of life has its own things that you can enjoy. And so in the 60s, like Maureen said, we're enjoying our children who are grown up now, we're enjoying our grandchildren, and we're enjoying the fact that we have been through a lot in life, and so we can understand a lot more things.
We've been around the block a few times.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, yeah.
What is gonna change it when you compare your 20s?
In our 20s, you begin to realize that you really need to work hard to have a good job, and you start thinking about a family, and you want to have a family, a wife and children, and so you're thinking about those things a lot, whereas when you're in your teenagers, you don't really think about that very much. So that's one of the challenges and the joys of being in your 20s.
Right.
When I was in my 20s, I was a lot more self-centered and a lot more selfish. And I feel like over the years, I've learned not to be so selfish.
Oh,
Yes. And we found that we actually have more pleasure, more joy in thinking about others rather than being so concerned about ourselves. It's actually a more pleasurable experience.
if you could give one piece of advice for youngsters, what would it be?
I would say pursue a relationship with God.
Yeah, yeah. And I would agree with that. But that's the most foundational thing in a person's life is a relationship with God. Everything else comes after that. And that's what you build on your whole life is a relationship with God.
I'm Daniel, I'm from Germany.
How old are you?
I'm 36 years.
What does it feel like to be 36?
It feels like getting older. You're not 20 anymore. A concern for myself as well, Money kind of gives you security in life, it feels like.
Sure.
So I'm sure we can relate on that. Marriage, getting children, at some point you're getting there. Maybe some people earlier, some people a little bit later, but it's something that's probably on all of our minds.
36 is a long journey of your life. Is there anything you wish but you have done differently?
I'm pretty content with my life. I'm doing good. I have good people in my life. Some things could have went differently, I guess. But no, I'm pretty happy as it is. I mean, in the end, all the actions, all the things that happened that brought me here today. So you think I'm a positive person?
Sure.
Okay.
Because, how I know that? Because sometimes when I ask people that even though they are native speakers, they say, I don't speak English.
No, that's all right. I'm happy you say that because right now it feels like a lot of people in Europe, maybe in Germany specifically, is a bit of a negative connotation. Everybody feels it's tough times coming up. It's tough times already. It is true in some regards, but in other regards, I think we're in a very good place. With very good standards of living. Life is good where we're from. Being too negative about it is just a German thing. If you learn about the world, if you look around you, if you see what's happening, what's going on, you need to put everything into perspective. And then you come to realize, hey, there's always something better that you can achieve, of course. But once you have crossed a certain threshold, I think, there's no point. Your basic needs are met. You can get food, you can sleep, you have some level of safety, which is pretty much true for most Europeans. Being too negative, I don't think there's a point. So you can have a positive outlook on life.
What has changed you for the better when you compare your 20s? You learned more, you experienced it more, maybe you did not before.
Well, first of all, sometimes in your 20s you're past puberty.
Sure.
that makes a big difference. And then, you start your life, you get maybe a job, you get responsibilities, and you'll be able to meet a lot of the responsibilities, and then you can look back at yourself and be like, hey, I've achieved something, and then I can achieve other things as well.
And what is the truth about life you wish more youngsters understood?
Oh, that's a deep question. It's a good one. There's a lot of things that you put a lot of emphasis in, or you think that really, they're so important when you're young. And then, 10 years later, you look back and you're like, that really didn't matter. So early on, there's not much you can do wrong. Just go for it.
If you could give one piece of advice for your younger self, knowing what you know today, what would it be?
Oh, just trust yourself, man. Yeah, I mean, like your parents, they have the best intentions. They put you on a good path. And if you're lucky, everything goes well. A lot of stuff in life is just luck, sheer luck, where you're born, what happens. If you cross the street, you could be gone. Other things, what makes me content? People around me, being able to explore, learn about other cultures, see the world, meet people, learn new things. That kind of makes me happy. Also the opportunity to achieve something in life, which at times can seem is not always a given. Sometimes you feel stuck, but once you have the feeling there's something you can aim for, you can shoot for, then that gives you a lot of energy, I feel like. So yeah, that's also making me, don't believe you're entitled to something, or like don't, just assume things are always going to be there, they're for free. Just, be thankful for something.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, man.
I'm Carla and I'm from Portugal.
Miriam, I'm from Portugal too.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
I'm 56.
What does it feel like to be 31 and 56?
For me, it feels great, in fact.
For me, it's great because you know a lot of things now. You already learn a lot of things, and maybe you can be more aware about things and make better choices.
Wow.
And you feel more confident in general.
What makes you confident?
I don't know, you feel better with yourself because you...
It comes with age?
I think so. For me, it came with kids, maybe.
Wow. What is gonna change it for the better in 2025? You learned more, maybe you didn't know before. When you compare your 20s.
When I was younger, I was very concerned about my future. And now I think that things will go smoothly and they will happen. So the best thing is that in each moment of your life, you should take as much as possible to feel it and to be happy. And most of the time we are not enjoying the moments, we are always focused on the future. So it's living each moment as getting as much as possible from it.
How did you overcome this worrying? Because as you mentioned that just time flows smoothly. I'm also 23 years old, but I just worry too much about life, about my future. What should I do? What is your advice for me?
Have kids, and then everything gets better.
But eventually, nowadays, I think we are passing all over the world, international conflicts and a lot of pressure. Things are changing, and I believe that maybe young people becomes more concerned about things. And try to keep rational and try to enjoy the moment. Try to make the best choices in your life. Just think with heart, and make friends and enjoy your friends and your family. And this is really the most important. I think people are always thinking about getting money, and that is important too, because it's nice for us to come here and to visit these beautiful places. But money is just a small part of the problem, Most important is that you make connections and you have friends and you have your family and you enjoy to be together. This is much more important than to have things and a new cell phone or new shoes or whatever.
What do you think about? Does money make us happy?
Money can help to make some choices eventually, but at the end you realize that what makes you happy is what you live in each moment. Is money can help you to afford something, but eventually you can have a lot of things, and if you are not enjoying to have these things, so it's to choose the right things that makes you really, really happy. That is the
And
problem.
have like the minimum money, like have like basic money for basic needs, but also don't have that much money. So before, when you were talking about connections and so on, for me, I felt that it lacked something, which is the connection with nature and to know more or less the place where you belong. For me, this is really important. Okay, so maybe this is the thing that came with age. So I have my family, and I'm talking about my husband, my kids, but also my brothers and sisters, my parents, and we are still we have this strong connection, and we have these places where we always meet, and sometimes we go all together into the wild, and this makes you feel like, okay, I don't need to have extra things, I don't need to travel a lot, although you are making this interview here, so far away from home. But this is what really matters, your place, like the place where you are true to yourself and to your pursuits.
What is
And money cannot buy these things, you know. Money cannot buy sunsets, cannot buy a flower, cannot buy, the landscape and the moments itself. This money cannot.
31 and 56 is a long journey of your life. Is there anything you wish but you have done differently?
I wish to have a third kid. I only have 2 daughters. I think every person should know when it's the time. So, for example, I did a lot of things before I got married. So, in fact, I already finished studying and I was already working. I don't know, just don't worry, because things will happen at a certain time.
It's not rushing. This is not we are not trying to win a competition, to meet someone and to decide to create your own small family. This is something that should happen naturally. I think it's also important to enjoy when you are a young person. You need to also live each moment. You should live the childhood, the teenage age. This is really important, and then become an adult and you are starting to make your decisions. You should enjoy this type of life, and eventually you will meet someone and you will build something together. But sometimes people are really concerned because, I'm too old, I will not find my husband or my wife, and this is not a problem. I would say God will make this for you eventually, so don't worry about that. I think we are always running,
Before getting married, I should have a car, my own house, and everything. And after achieving all of my life, what I want to building, and then getting married is gonna be great. That true mindset among the young people.
I understand that because in
but
Portugal we have the same
We
thing.
have the same.
But people are really concerned because it feels that you are more safe and you should work in a dedicated way, be responsible in your work, and eventually, and this is also important, if you decide to do something that makes you happy, this is important because you are not feeling that you are working, you are feeling that you are on vacations. We are working here. In fact, we come to a meeting. This feels like we are on vacations. This is also important.
What is a marriage if you describe for a person who isn't married?
It's not always easy, okay? Sometimes it's really, really hard. It's also very good because you have that person which is your person. Somehow it's magic.
I think it's more or less that. I think it's important to have someone who you can have confidence, can support you because you are not feeling always well. Sometimes you feel a little bit sad. There are always some obstacles in the way. So to have someone or some friends to help you to overpass these obstacles is also important. So we live on society. We are citizens from society. So we are not living alone. And this is important, the connection with other people, with our family, even with nature, because nature is really important. We need everything that is in the nature to make us to live.
If you could give one piece of advice for youngsters, what would it be?
I say carpe diem. This is a Latin expression that says enjoy the moment, enjoy each moment of your life.
And my advice is to be open to meet new persons, new cultures. Each experience that you have, try to use it to open your mind as much as possible.